Have you ever been interrupted while in the middle of a deep sleep? Perhaps you acted irrationally before you could fully wake up. You see, that's what happened to me. But let me start at the beginning. The beginning of the end, that is. During the last weeks of the life of Jesus, we settled into a very simple daily pattern. We spent the night on the Mount of Olives, just outside the walls of Jerusalem. And the next morning we crossed the valley. We climbed up the Temple Mount and we entered the temple grounds. And Jesus taught the people, jousted and with the Jewish leaders, instructed his apostles and disciples. As the day ended, we returned to the Mount of Olives. You see, we all knew that Jewish leaders were dangerous. But we didn't know that Satan had entered Judas Iscariot, one of us. He slipped away and went to the chief priests and the temple guards to talk to them about betraying Jesus. He went to them when the crowds were not there. They paid Judas 30 pieces of silver in advance for his treachery. Why 30 pieces of silver though? Wasn't really a lot. Possibly it was to fulfill the prophecy from the passages in the book of Ezekiel. Or possibly that's what Judas actually asked for and demanded. He bargained away the most precious life he could ever live for a pittance. The day of unleavened bread came. And this was the day that was during the Passover. And it was a festival that we enjoyed. It was the Passover of the lamb to be sacrificed. I guess I was expecting Judas to make the preparations since he was the treasurer. But Jesus turned to John and me and he told us to go and make preparations. He gave us the details, instructions, instead of the typical the vagueness that he used to tell us in. He told us specifically. It was weird. His instructions started with, as you enter the city, a man carrying a jar of water will meet you. I was immediately taken back. I had been with Jesus for weeks, and I knew he had not had the opportunity to make these plans. These complex plans. The odds of seeing a man carrying a jar of water were very small. Men did not typically do this type of work. John and I found things exactly as Jesus said. We met the man and followed him. We asked the owner of the house, where could the teacher eat? The owner took us upstairs and showed us this room that was furnished. We prepared the feast for the Passover for the disciples. So, when the appropriate hour came, we, the apostles, and Jesus reclined around the table for Passover, like we had done for every year of our lives. The meal did not go as we expected. The words that Jesus used portrayed him as the Passover sacrifice. He even said, "This is my body given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." We should have been stunned and immediately started to question him about his words. But instead, we started arguing amongst ourselves about who was going to be greater. This is not the first time we had this kind of argument, of course. And I'm sure Jesus was devastated that we were still being pitiful. Jesus took this argument and turned it into a lesson showing that the most humble among us would be the greatest. He backed up his words by showing how he had come to serve and not to be served. I should have let well alone, but I continued with my haggling attitude. And Jesus turned to me and said, Satan has asked me to sieve you from the wheat, but I have prayed for you that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned back and strengthened your brothers, I did not catch his conclusion that I would fail while being sieved. I boasted, Lord, I am ready to go with you to prison and also to die. He looked at me with sad eyes and said, before the rooster crows today, you will have denied me 3 times. Jesus continued to talk to us for a very long time. And just as John recorded in his gospel account, will continue to teach us. Jesus led us across the valley and up the side of the Mount of Olives to the place Gethsemane. And after a while, Jesus separated himself from us to pray, which he often did, so we didn't really think anything of it. But this time he asked James, John and me to keep watch with him. He felt so sorry for us because we could not even stay awake during this time of extreme danger. I was dead asleep. A crowd of men with torches appeared out of nowhere and came towards Jesus. Judas was there. It didn't make sense. Why was Judas there? He walked with them. He walked with the guards. And he walked towards Jesus and then he kissed him. Jesus said to Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss? I grabbed my sword. I was so angry. I literally just woke up and I was ready to go. And I just swung my sword just as hard as I can. And I hit one of the guards' right ears and it came straight off. You see, I've just woke up. I wasn't even thinking clearly, just reacted. Now I was completely in a panic. I saw that this crowd consists of soldiers, temple guards, probably even sent by the high priests themselves. They seized Jesus and they started walking down the hill. We, the apostles, scattered in every direction. From my vantage point, though, I could see that the torches were heading to the southeast, towards the house of the high priest. I stumbled down the path. It was so dark. I was able to stay a short distance from the crowd. As they went into the house, I came from the other side and I sat near the fire in the courtyard, trying hard to keep my face hidden. This girl came up to me. This man was with him. It was a servant girl, accusing me of being a follower of Jesus. I of course denied it, but my accent, my clothes, gave me away. I denied my Lord. at the mere words of a girl. Twice more I was accused of being a follower of Jesus, and twice more I denied him. At that exact moment, on that third denial, the rooster crowed, and Jesus turned and looked straight at me. I remember what he said to me. I went away weeping bitterly. In the distance, I could hear them insulting Jesus and beating him.